Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and today we're talking about reprogramming yourself. We are, at the end of the day, computers. If you think about how artificial intelligence trains itself and learns, our brains are effectively the same thing, where we take in a bunch of information and synthesize it and then kind of become something new based on how we train ourselves, which means if you fill your head with a bunch of scary political nonsense and all the bad things that are happening in the world and all the reasons why you can't, then that's what we're going to internalize, and you train your brain for failure. We teach ourselves there's no way I can be successful. And I've lived both sides of this, where I've been a loser for a lot of my life and was not successful as an adult because I told myself it wasn't meant for me. I can't do it. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to be able to go to college. I'm never going to have any real skills. And when I turned around the inner monologue, I went through a period of like 5 years of explosive growth, and I started turning it all around and becoming a different person. I leaned into it. I leaned into self-improvement. Gone were the long nights kind of recounting my sins and recounting all the sins that had been done against me, the things people had done that resulted in why I couldn't succeed. And I started focusing a lot more on what can I do. So, yep, sure, all that stuff happened. I screwed up here, I screwed up here, I face planted in front of the world. So and so screwed me over, or I can't succeed because I get 4 hours of sleep a night and have to devote myself to my son. Like, all of us have those reasons. But at the end of the day, you got to make a choice. Do you want to be successful? How bad do you want it? And what I did initially to kind of get my level of success was I cut out all the bad things and I replaced it with good stuff. So I listened to motivational tapes as I was driving or at the gym. And, when I was writing, I would cut out anything that was negative. The people in my life who we would tend to sit around and kind of bitch about things, I cut out. And I want to be clear, this doesn't mean that I don't think about the bad things in life and that I'm unaware of what's going on. It means I don't dwell on them. And it means that I make a conscious choice to fill my time with positivity. I had to become an optimist, which sounds impossible when you were a pessimist. I mean, it did for me. But what I found is when life knocks you down hard enough, as I felt like it did to me, back at around 2020, we fall back into that mindset, that victim mindset of, man, I've been screwed over for this reason, my health is bad, I have these challenges and problems, and because of those, I'm just unlikely to ever succeed, so why should I try? Well, the answer to that's pretty straightforward. You know what it's like when you don't try. I was absolutely miserable. I hated my life. I was forever alone. I was 100 pounds heavier. I had no spouse and was unlikely to ever have a spouse. I wasn't dating. I was embarrassed about my life and what I did for a living. And then one by one, I changed all of those things. I became an optimist, even though the blind optimism was stupid. I'm just going to be frank. It was just stupid. Like, I had no reason to expect that I'd be able to succeed. Didn't matter. I tried to succeed every day, and I tell myself I'm going to be an internationally best-selling author. And all my friends laughed at me. It was good-natured laughing, and they were trying to prevent me from hurting myself. But they're like, "Come on, Chris, you're not going to be able to succeed." And then all of a sudden, it did succeed, and I did become an internationally best-selling author, and I did meet the girl of my dreams, and I did get married and have a family, and all the things that I wanted, I got. That came about because I chose to focus on those things. Either you have forward momentum, or you're stagnating, and probably your life's getting worse. And all of us, I think, have had some experiences of both. You've had moments where you're a winner, you've had moments where you're a loser. We get to choose. And making the conscious choice to make your life better and focus on the positive and to surround yourself with positive people is what will pull you out of whatever rut you are currently in. It doesn't matter how many times you failed in the past. The past doesn't matter at all. All that's done is condition you and train your brain. It's programmed your brain to accept certain things. And many of those are limiting beliefs, meaning I think I can't do it because X, Y, and Z. And we need to remove that and say, no, I can do it. We need to actually convince ourselves it is possible. And it is when you believe it that change will really start to happen. Opportunities float by us. And if you have spent years preparing and getting ready, then you can capitalize on those opportunities. When I saw the very first iPhone and decided, you know what, I'm going to quit my dead end job as a call center harasser where I call people and be like, hey, your car payment's late and I want to be an engineer, I saw a way out of a life that I hated, and I poured myself into that. And again, I had no reason to think I would succeed. I just picked up a book and started teaching myself iOS development so that I could become one of the first generation of iPad and iPhone developers. And I succeeded. But that only happened because I believed it was possible and destined, like preordained. And if I didn't have it, something was wrong with the world. So my reticular activating system, the part of your brain that notices things, kicked into high gear, and it noticed all the things I needed to become successful. And every day I worked at it. And I just kept going and going and going. If you don't believe it's possible, we tend to sit around and not do anything or do less than we're capable of. We go through the motions. But if you start believing it's possible, then you get fired up about it. Even if you're not succeeding in the short term, the victories feel sweeter, the small ones that you have, and the losses feel less daunting. And you just keep climbing. It's hard to do, but ultimately, again, our brains are computers. So teach yourself that you can succeed. And I see this most poignantly in my son because we're programming him every day. He's learning. And when I was a kid, I learned I will never be successful. I will always be poor. No one cares what I have to think. It's sit down and shut up, Chris. And I'm teaching my son the opposite of that. You can be successful at anything you want to be. If you work on development, you can be the best in the world at something. And he has a very different mindset than I did as a kid. This is something that is mirrored in the neurology of most species, not even just mammals. If you look at lobsters as an example, with their neurology, something that has been studied very, very closely, when a lobster is born, it can change its behavior and its physiology based on circumstances. So let's say a lobster early in life runs into a bigger lobster and gets the crap kicked out of it and learns I am weaker. For the rest of its life, it's going to be more subservient, and its physiology will literally rewire so that it feels that it is lower down in the hierarchy. Conversely, if it wins its first fight, now it thinks, okay, I'm supposed to win fights, and it becomes more of a dominant lobster, and it'll actually grow to be physically larger. So our development as living life forms is really tied to mindset in a way that we can't fully understand. So you've got to shift that mindset and reprogram yourself to understand I can be anything. I can do anything, even if it sounds crazy. And you know what the alternative is. If you're not happy with where you're at, you have to change it. Or we can wallow in it, which is something I've done for a lot of my life. And that's never the right answer. You just get to at the end of a time period where you've been languishing and you're like, man, I just wasted 2 years saying it couldn't be done. What could I have done if I had actually tried harder? And in my case, I've lamented the past years. I don't anymore. I know that I need recharge periods now. I understand myself a lot better. So when I stumble and fall for a while, I just dust myself off, get back up, and keep trying. I am constantly reinventing my career. I've had so many jobs over the course of my career that I'm like the Highlander, where it's like, every episode you show him doing something else in some era of history. I need to keep my optimism and keep it close at hand because I stay scrappy and I'm able to accomplish bigger goals like that. And I owe that to my family. I owe that to my wife. I owe that to my son. So if you are feeling miserable, if you're feeling daunted, if the world is a dark place, if you're looking at AI and all of the challenges that mankind is facing currently, and maybe you're politically active and you're worried, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, you're probably freaked out right now about what's going on. Pull away from that. Choose not to focus on it. It doesn't mean you have to be unaware of things, but what if instead you spent all of your time focusing on how do I achieve my dreams? How do I get to be the person I want to be? Pick an area, start working on it. Doesn't matter what it is. If you are out of shape and you've always wanted to get in shape, start walking around the block. Take a small single action towards your goal and then take another small action, and every day take a single small action, and you'll start getting momentum and this belief in your head that at first you have to kind of lie to yourself and fake it till you make it. It will become a reality, and eventually it'll become confidence. And in my case, I lost the confidence somewhere between, 2018 and 2020. Too many hammer blows in life, too many things that were beyond my control, health issues. I I hesitate to mention this, but I had a minor heart attack where the stress was so bad, my doctor warned me, listen, dude, if you keep going, you're going to die. This is not working. That was incumbent on me to change and fix, and I've learned how to do so. I allowed myself to get overwhelmed, and I focused too heavily on everything that was going on. But I've since reprogrammed myself, altered my life, changed my situation, and I'm now in a much, much better place. And I'm hoping you can do the same thing. So wherever you are, whatever is going on, today, decide you want better. Decide what goal it is you're going to pursue and how you want things to go, and then just do it. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the writing. I am now in book 3 of Heir to Atlantis. The covers for book 1 and 2 are looking phenomenal. Just got the book 3 artwork. I think the series is going to do pretty well, and I'm ready to launch it. Lisa will be back. Today's July 31st. She'll be back in 2 more days, so I'm going to launch it next week, and then I'm off to the races. And for the first time in 6 or 7 years, I am excited to launch a series. I'm not like, oh man, I got to get out these books, and what if they don't do well? I don't care. My overhead on this series is extremely low. I'm really proud of the writing in the books. It is a cultural touchstone that is very popular right now. They'll probably do well. And if they don't do well, I'm not going to be like, man, I can't do this. I'm just going to be like, well, okay, that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and try something else. I already have 2 or 3 more things lined up that are my next business ventures that I'm ready to go with. And I'm excited about it. I spent the last years reprogramming my brain and deciding I'm going to be the old Chris, not the beaten down, worn out Chris. You get to choose. And I know it's hard. I know how difficult it is, but just decide. It's that simple. Anyway, I hope this is not too preachy. I'd love to hear in the comments instances of you turning it around. I already know so many people who have. Yeah, I'm going to get back to the writing, and I'll see you next week.